YouTube channel. It's African Queen Grace. It's been a minute and I've missed you guys. I want to just say thank you for coming back, thank you for watching, and thank you for sharing my videos, and of course turning on the notification. So in the last video I talked about I would do another video about relationships, something that I had watched on the read on the newspapers. And this was a newspaper for Saturday Nation for August 20th. It had very interesting views, which I would like us to discuss. So I'd really look forward to you guys chatting on the inbox, chatting on the comment section, so that I get to know what your views are. So just before I start this topic, there is something I wanted to say, and I hope the views that we are going to discuss in this topic is not targeted towards anyone. These are just views that I personally have experienced, or they're views of people that I have met, I have talked with socially. It could be on social media, it could just be like my friends, or it could just be just random people we are talking about different topical issues. So these views are necessarily not going to target anybody. They're just ways of us interacting and getting to understand what the society wants, what the people want, and why it's happening. So welcome to the topic today. It's about dating. Now, I'm going to give a perspective of dating 36 plus, So it means you have finished your younger years, you're no longer considered to be a youth. According to the Kenyan law expects us to be youth until 35. So let's talk about 36 plus. Yes, you're 36, you're now no longer a youth. You're now 40, you're now 45, you're moving towards 50. How do people date? And my views are going to be biased towards ladies because I'm a lady, I can give my perspective. But the men, I really look forward to getting your perspectives as well. So this topic was given as women's income are growing, but they still won't date poor men. And this is why. So they went on and on discussing different perspectives. So I'm just going to pick the perspectives and then, talk about it. The first one was financial stability. So we do kind of know that the day and age of gender parity, or if you want to call it gender equity, or if you want to call it gender bias, a lot of these things are now, they're out there, and there are lots of champions towards women initiatives, towards getting women to rise up, to break those ceilings. And it's been, pushing towards getting women to rise up. But that means the women are trying new jobs, interviewing for those positions they never thought they would ever get, earning better salaries, driving better cars, living in better suburbs. And now, before we go on and on about financial stability, one thing that we have to acknowledge is our day and age society, there's lots of people who are single. It could be they're single because of different reasons. It could be they're divorced. They're single because they're separated. They're single because they're widowed or they're widowers. They're single because they don't want marriage. That is there. Or they're single because they've just not met someone. So here you are, you're single. You have your career intact. Your finances are stable. You're living in a good house. You're living in your dream home. You probably built yourself a nice home. Your parents are okay. So let's assume that everything else is in order. How do you date such kind of a lady? how do the men approach such kind of a lady? So the first thing they're saying here is that women are not dating poor men. So what is poor really? Poor is relative. For example, you can say a lady who is earning, let's say, 1 million in a month, would they consider dating someone who is earning 100K? And according to this article, does that mean that the person earning 100K is actually poor? That's the question mark. I think poor and being rich in dating aspects is quite relative. It depends with how you carry yourself forward. It depends with how you interact with the person you want to date. It depends with your maturity, emotional maturity that comes with it. But nonetheless, let us look at also the realistic aspects of it, because we don't want to gloss over it. So the first thing is financial stability. And they say that most ladies want stable, financially stable men. Even if you look at this, the apps that people are nowadays in, if you find a lady talking about the person they aspire to be, they'll always say, I want a financially stable person. Now, if you are in those ages that I've spoken about and you're financially stable, and the men who are in those ages tend to prefer younger women who are not necessarily financially stable for them. I don't know what happened to this society, but it has always happened that when the ladies are now becoming maturer, financially stable, they want stable men who, I would assume, people who are slightly older or their peers. But the same peers who are men are now going for the younger ladies. So then they're left wondering, who else are they going to date? But they're still stuck in their ways, and they're like, no, I want a man who is mature, I want a man who is financially stable. But the financially stable men don't want them. So what happens then? That's a question mark. So should ladies who are financially stable date, in quotes, poor men? As I said, my perspective is you should be open to date anyone. You should be open to date anyone. When we talk about financial stability, yes, it plays a role in the marriage or in a relationship, but it should not take the first foremost point and say, oh, because you're not earning this kind of salary, then I'm not willing to date you. How about maybe it's a bad time for the person? Maybe they were in business and their business, was attacked by thieves. COVID happened. They're not just earning the same amount of money they used to earn, but do they have the perspective of, getting up again, pursuing their businesses, applying for jobs? Are they out there searching, or they're just being couch potatoes? Let me laugh. That name, couch potato, is for another day. But yeah, are they out there? Are they looking for it? And if so, I think that is something a lady should be able to, evaluate. The other thing I know that comes with dating mature ladies or dating people who are financially stable is the issue of age. Now, I know I have talked about the issue of mature men dating younger ladies, so that means they're not available to date mature women. So who are these women left to date? They tend to date younger men. And what happens when they date younger men? They don't want them for long keep, because they tend to think they're not financially stable. They still don't know what they want in life. They're just not sure about them. How will their society look at them? How will their relatives look at them? So then they tend to just, have them on the side, but then they're like, oh, nothing serious will come out of it. So age also plays another factor for those ladies who are financially stable. And if they can't get peers, then they tend to either go for way, way older men. And that also leaves the question mark of, are they the mature men, or the people who are way older have probably not want children? They don't want children because at their age they probably have older kids, they have grandchildren. and here you are, probably you're in your late 30s, early 40s, and you probably just want a child. How will that happen? That's another question. Because when you get these financially stable, mature men, they are well endowed in terms of wealth. They know what they want. They've done a lot in their lives. They've waded through the challenges that have been there. So you coming into their lives, they look at you more of like a partner, someone they can spend time with, do certain activities with, or maybe just be a flower girl for the society to see you as someone in their lives. And you'll find that some of them could be that they have divorced or their wives died, and so they just want someone to keep them company. And because they have mature children, even their children encourage them to marry. Because they see their parents or their parent is just lonely because they're not there anymore for them. They're also busy with their family. Like, mom, get married again, or dad, marry again. So that's another question, is at that point in time, would you as a mature lady want to, have a child? Would you want to adopt one? Or would you just give it up because you're not able to get a partner within your age group? So that's another thing. The other thing that we're talking about is high expectations. I was having this conversation with someone another day, and I said there's certain things that someone would not consider, or they would not want to have a conversation around if you're on that age group where you have a good income, you know what you want, you've done certain things. And even when you're dating, even when you're just getting to know someone, there's some limits of things that you would expect from your partner or potential partner. For example, you would want to spoil yourself once in a while to go on holiday. You would want to, go to the high-end restaurants once in a while. You'd want to do those fine things that you'd want to enjoy in life, or those boxes you have, those tick boxes that you have. You want to do them. But sometimes when you are not dating the right person, then it becomes a challenge. And you're just not sure how to wade through it. And this one, usually, it's just right from the onset. If, for example, you're meeting someone for the first date, where do you meet them? How do you interact with them? Is the person going to pay for your bill for that breakfast that you had, or late lunch or dinner? Are they going to be fussy over small things like, oh, let's share the bill or something of the sort? Don't get me wrong. We as mature women are not looking for cheapskate. We are not looking for someone to come and, and take over your finances and everything. No. But what I'm saying is that onset interaction with that person is very important. And the person has to show that they are in charge. They have to show that they are willing to go an extra mile for the person. If you're not the person to do high end, that's still okay. People even do bush breakfasts. People, if you're comfortable in your zone, wherever you want to meet, that's still okay. But what I'm saying is you should be in a comfortable zone where the man is taking charge. We as ladies have high expectations. And that comes, right from grooming. How does the person dress? How does the person have a conversation? I will just mention this. I know some people might be offended, but what kind of car do they drive? Again, remember, somehow all this ties back to what the person is earning. If you're driving a Prado, for example, and you're going for a date for someone who's driving a Vitz, should that put you off? Should that mean that the person is not able to take care of you? If you're staying, for example, in Runda in Nairobi, and the person is staying in South B or even Buruburu, Does that mean that the person is not able to take care of you? I think not. It just depends on how the person, communicates, how the person conveys themselves, because it could be that they're staying in Buruburu, but they have flats in Buruburu, so they just choose to stay in one of their flats, their own apartments. And they don't see anything wrong with that. So you should always dig deep instead of just assuming and seeing because someone is coming in with a VITS, then it means that they don't have enough money to take care of you as someone who is financially stable. The other high expectation is something to do with how you handle your friends. The society has put it in such a way that some of the friendships are very plastic, right? So how does the person on the other end handle their friends? There is social media friends who are frenzy. There is the person-to-person friends, like those are their people you will interact with, people you will see. Then there is also family. So those are three categories. How does that person handle their friends? There's the social media friends, there's the in-person friends, and then there's the family. Do they find a boundary for all of that? The person that you see in the social media, is it the same person as you see in person? Do you get to know them better? Because I feel sometimes we get carried away with the social media life that people portray out there. And then when you meet the person face to face, or when you get to know the person again, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, this is not the person that I thought you were. So I would say social media, pack it up, put it on the shelf. Don't ignore it, but put it on the shelf. Get to know the person first. Interact with the person well. Then you can see where the social media aspects fits into that person's life. And that is the way to know a person better. There is this category of people who just avoid social media. That scares me though, because everybody is in social media. It could be Facebook, it could be Instagram, it could be LinkedIn, it could be any of the many platforms that are there. If you search and don't find the person totally, I always find that very suspicious. People tend to say that they are private, which I do agree. You can be private to an extent, but someone should be able to know you. Someone should be able to interact with you, because remember the social media, you tend to find that the people they know in their lives are looped into their friends. So you'll find certain aspects of their lives, their real lives coming out in the way people interact with them. But if you cannot totally find them in social media, let's say there's a question mark there. But that is just my perspective, disclaimer. Then there's the other aspect of education. Nowadays we have so many billionaires or millionaires who've not gone to school, and I wonder how that plays with the generation of our parents who are hell bent on you have to marry someone who has gone to school, who probably has the same degree as you, who is a doctor, who is a lawyer. What happened to all the entrepreneurs? Because currently people who are making money are people who are in entrepreneurship, people who have businesses, people who are interacting with the likes of doing tenders and all. So I think it's just being open-minded and seeing how aggressive a person is. Is the person able to communicate? Is the person able to have decorum in terms of dealing with you? They're not beating you up. They're not hurling insults. They're being wise in the way they communicate, the way they handle their family. If they have kids, how do they handle their kids? How do they handle their exes? That's another thing. Because I find if you find you're dating someone who totally harasses their exes, the probability is very high that if you separate with them, they're going to handle you the same way. So how do they handle their exes, their baby mamas and baby daddies? How do they handle them? That really shows or dig deep into how someone's personality is. There's a lot of class issue which touches a bit onto the issue of education, but also the issue of wealth. There's a lot of class issue with regards to people wanting to climb up the ladder. But in dating, sometimes, let me just say this, sometimes you have all this financial stability and it gets very lonely. It's just the same way that it's said that the corner office, or the higher you go in the hierarchy of your career and in the organization, the more lonely it becomes. And that's the same way with having money or being stable to an extent, because once you're stable, or once you have this money, then you want to move to the next level, and you probably want a partner who will move you to the next level. So people really have a challenge on how do you get to the next level? How do you have a partner who pushes you to the next level? And for me, it's more of looking at somebody's character, as I said, looking at their relatives, looking at their families, looking at how they interact with other people, and just their life history. If you take time, sometimes you might not know everything about someone, but you'll always have little hints on how that person is, even as you interact with them on a daily basis. So that is what Nation was all about on this day, which I found very interesting. With regards to dating mature women who are financially stable, what's your view on it? Are they stuck up? Are they proud? Are they open to talking with people, or as soon as they see you and they feel that you're not in their class, they shove you away? Are they open-minded? I'd like to hear your perspectives on this. The other video I'm going to do about dating is dating in Kisumu City. That is something I really want to deep dive on, which is quite interesting. It's mind-blowing how people interact with single people. And this other video I'm going to do is more of looking at it from how do married men interact with single ladies, how do single men who are older interact with single ladies, how do younger men interact with single ladies. And this can be in any context, really. It could be in church, it could be in your social settings, in terms of people you hang out with in those restaurants, in those clubs. It could be your work environment. How do people interact with a person who is called single? And I'll give you my experience. So thank you so much for watching. It's lots of love from African Queen Grace. Please subscribe and share with your friends. And have a lovely day. Have a lovely evening. Have a wonderful week ahead. Bye.